Hello FleetReadyFam, welcome to FleetReadyGaming. My name is Sivad and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a Sivid's Reacts to video, reacting to the latest Inside Star Citizen for February 16th, 2023. So let's get into it. Alright, so new episode covering server meshing for today. Exciting stuff. I've already heard a little bit from my org members on Discord, but we're going to go ahead and give it a fresh review to see what it's actually about and give our honest opinion afterwards. So let's check it out.
Meetings. Hands down the most exciting element in all of game development. Now, everyone that has ever made a game will tell you that it's gathering in a meeting room and talking about stuff that's really their very favorite part of the process. Yes, the best days in game dev are the ones full of meetings, and the best behind-the-scenes content is always incredibly meeting-focused. Now, imagine a summit, an entire week dedicated to hashing out the plans for the next month, quarter, year.
It is exciting, but it sounds dull at times.
Yes, exciting stuff, I know.
Mm-hmm.
All kidding aside, summits are an essential element of game dev we don't often get to explore. So when we heard that the core technology, network, and engine teams were coming together to discuss how best to move from persistent entity streaming into tackling the immense server meshing, we figured you might just indulge us in trying something a little different this week. So we set up some cameras and grabbed a few willing participants just minutes after completing their second day of summits to get a candid, unfiltered look inside one of the most important Star Citizen summits of 2023. And let me tell you, January's been full of them. So to spare you the full effect of 5 days of meetings, we'll be spreading these out over the next few weeks while continuing our look at content being developed for 3.19 and beyond. So, after just a little ado, we present to you the Server Meshing Strike Team Quarter 1 2023 Development Summit Post-Meeting Review. Name pending.
Jared,
do you need
host
to look
of the year.
Camera or the right, got you. Okay.
Meshing Summit Day 2.
Just stick it in your pocket.
Okay. Oh.
Inside your.
I am in this one. Yeah, there you go. I didn't know what you've written.
I wrote Benny B.
I can't do this if they're watching me. Go away. Go away, please, forever.
It's definitely awkward being in front of a camera and with other people.
What are you guys doing here?
Well, I'm visiting the UK to discuss server meshing with the rest of the team.
We're doing a summit to try and plan for the next deliveries of Pyro and server meshing.
So summits in general, especially this one, is really where all the teams connect because, you know, with the pandemic, a lot of people have been working from home. So summits become really important because it allows us to reconnect together. So we meet in one location. This time it's in the UK. And we have representative of every team. So most of the leads in every team.
It's the first time that we're meeting as a team for a lot of us. A lot of people joined the company. A lot of people joined those teams and they've never met so far.
Sorry, going to pause for a second. It's very true. Star Citizen, CIG in general, have grown massively in the last 2 to 3 years since the pandemic has started. They've grown to almost, gosh, at this point, 150 employees. For those of us, you know, who are close to me, I actually applied for to work at CIG and made it through several rounds of interviews. And ultimately didn't get the job, but, you know, they are pushing a huge hiring initiative. So, you know, those who have the experience, check out their career pages because there's a lot of jobs that need filling. And it's seems like an awesome place to work. Let's continue.
So it's just great. Like we have someone from Korea, Montreal, have people from all over, you know. So it's also a strong aspect of the summits.
This is a great opportunity for us. This is the first time ever we've had the strike team all in one place, all at one time. This is our kind of Avengers Assembled moment for server meshing. This is the time we get 3 core teams together to actually work out the final nuances of the architecture to build this system.
There are many teams are involved, and to get the teams on the same page, we're just building everyone in a room, talk for 1 week, aligning our goals, that we can just go out and crank at the code without less communication than we would have without many people are already working together for a long time, so it's make communication easier if you know each other and getting forward to agreeing on goals. Based on that, we can more efficiently execute toward a goal, because especially in a global company where time zones are, it's kind of hard. Sometimes I think about software development is like an oil tanker, where it runs good into one direction, but as soon as you want to change direction, it takes a long time, because we need to get everyone has a slightly different idea of how stuff works, and to get everyone really understand how stuff should work on a more detailed level. It's a lot of work and align it.
Sorry, going to pause for another second. Absolutely. Going over the progress tracker, currently from what is shown, 2 teams are currently working on server meshing right now. The rest have completed their goals so far. And I believe it was the missions features team and the vehicle feature team that are currently doing work actively on server meshing right now. After, speaking to a couple of my org members on Discord, it seems like after this video that more work from other teams, primarily seeming like networking teams and such, core physics teams and whatnot, are going to be doing some additional work, which makes sense. There's a lot that goes into this, and it is a very heavy lifting feature that's promising to not only bring us, Pyro, but also increase our server cap, which now range from 100 to, I've seen upwards to 150 players on a single server, upwards to thousands to tens of thousands of players on a single shard. So, absolutely, it's good to see that they are working together, getting in there in person versus remotely, and coming up with a solid game plan. Exciting to hear.
Everybody's put their stuff in. We plan it out. We discuss approaches, strategies on how we're going to intertwine our work. And this allows us to be on the same page so that we can then work together to achieve a very specific objective and not just be building technology for fun.
Give us Pyro. I'm so excited and ready for Pyro.
The objective of this summit is to flesh out the exact roadmap for server meshing based on all of the work we've been doing for PES. So PES is the state of the simulation that's now persisting. That's great. It's behind us. Now we need to actually server mesh.
The major goal of this summit is to reflect back on what we've done and see how we can do it better for the next milestones on server meshing. What did we forget? What can we do better? How can we better organize ourselves so we keep moving forward and we don't do what we've had to do a lot for the previous delivery, which is think and create as you go. And there will always be a little bit of this in game development. It's normal.
Of course.
You need to have this creativity.
It's always
you need to
unforeseen.
keep that, but we also need to get a little bit better at planning and anticipating some of the challenges.
The goal of the summit is really to flesh out the steps to get there with the objective to ship a second solar system. That's really the primary objective.
What do you call a jump point for you? Because we are talking a lot of the low technical stuff.
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I would, some of a secondary goal is talking about.
Goodbye. Secondary goal would be talking about the low technical groundwork to enable features like jump point.
So this is day 2, I think, of the summit. So we've done a first retrospective of all of the PES work, issues we've encountered, problems we've had, things we want to avoid. And this is officially the first day of actually digging into meshings.
On our second day, we talked about, what did I talk about?
Day 2, we have drunk so much coffee.
Day 2 has been super great in that
it.
we've aligned a lot of our different roadmaps. Every team gets to have their own sort of view on the project. And I think today we really came together as this is the critical path that we need to achieve. Everything else is gravy, but we have the critical path is really clearly identified, which is a big deal in the size of this project.
Server meshing, the plan for persistent entity streaming and server meshing, they were designed to be done simultaneously at the same time. This is going back to late 2020. We couldn't do that. It just wasn't practical in the end. So we had to devote all our attention to doing persistent entity streaming. This was in during lockdown, so we did all of this while we're all working from home. We're now in a position,
which I'm sure definitely made things a lot more
the server
challenging.
meshing stuff. And I kind of lost my train of thought. I was going to say something really good and I forgot what it was.
Yeah, we know what the critical path is, which is that's the most important thing in these technology projects because they get to be very large. And so sometimes you lose track of what the actual objective is. And our objective is to get a second solar system online as fast as possible, not just to build server meshing technology, but it's
hopefully
to get
a third
the
system
second solar
too,
system
from
online. Now we
what
have
I've been hearing in
a rough
rumors.
roadmap of the different steps we need to
They can't
to do
confirm
to
it.
get our second
Just
solar
rumors.
system online. And so now we start arguing about the later steps and the strategies after that.
We're tackling a lot of really difficult problems at the moment. Server meshing is one of the toughest problems to solve in video game development. And we've gotten to the point now, we're getting persistent entity streaming to the point where it's shippable. That then kind of opens up lots of opportunities to be able to get this quite impressive system built. So yeah, there's good stuff happening here.
God, I can't wait for when data running and
So the first
hacking
phase
gets
is
into the
separation
game.
out of the replication layer. That unlocks the Pyro jump gate stuff. That also unlocks the server meshing stuff. We've been talking about the zones and authority, but you're much better off talking to a proper engineer about this kind of stuff. But yeah, we're getting a good handle on this stuff. We're getting a good plan for delivery.
We have delivered the PES technology, and now we need to build on what we built there, defining more sub-steps to go out to actually bring Pyro in the hands of the player.
This is a really complicated system, and we had to learn how to do it. There's been a lot of experimentation, there's been a lot of invention. When we had our initial plan at the beginning of 2021, late 2020, there was a lot of stuff in there that we knew we had to build but didn't quite know how to build it. When we actually came to build those interesting systems, we had to we found problems. We found stuff that was never expected.
The whole aspect of this project is R&D.
Technology. We found limitations of what the hardware could do. So we very much had to get our engineers to invent our way around the problem. So this is very much a feedback. This is a learning experience to figure out how we need to build server meshing. The key thing that we're doing with this is server meshing is also tied into the Pyro, to deliver the jump gates to get to Pyro. It's not quite the same problem, but it also kind of is. When you actually do a jump to get to Pyro, we have to transfer authority from the Stanton DGS to the Pyro DGS. What we want to do, of course, is have multiple DGS per star system. But we're separating the actual jump gate stuff from the actual server meshing stuff so that we get to the point so we can actually assure Pyro's delivery and whilst we worry about the actual server meshing delivery. So we're actually, those are now, from our perspective, two different problems. So very early on, we're going to be tackling what we're calling separation of the replication layer out from the DGS. So that's the thing which replicates all our data. It allows communication. It's a single source of truth in memory for the state of the entire universe at any given time. That's going to get separated out from the DGS that currently holds all the fun simulation stuff that's happening at the moment. That's a first key step, both to delivering Pyro, all the technical back end for the jump gates, and it's also our kind of first big step for server meshing. So that's what we're going to be tackling initially.
It's exciting stuff. Sorry, going to pause one more time. Yeah, the technical achievements the CIG is trying to pull off is people don't. I can't say that people don't understand, but I feel that a lot of people don't fully grasp the full technical achievement, the back-end level achievement of the system that they're trying to pull off. They make it sound a lot easier than it actually is. And even from a technical and engineering standpoint, I have a background in engineering or programming at least. I went to Washington State University to get my bachelor's in computer science. And so I always look forward to the monthly reports, especially for the physics and computer engineering portions of the report, because a lot of it I do understand from the technical viewpoint of what they give to us. And the overall plan of how their systems are able to hand off, which sounds like the easiest thing. Think of a baton racer handing off your baton to another racer that's going to then take it to the next area of the race and then finish the race. It's so much more complex when you're talking about it in a virtual space, because you have to make sure that that baton fully exists throughout this whole process, that it is not dropped, that it is not lost in translation, that it's not corrupted in any sense throughout the entire process, and then ultimately lands to where you as the player are trying to go and is received for the shard/server for the area that you're traveling to. And that whole process is absolutely fascinating to me, because, well, yes, CIG has taken a long time to guarantee that this software works properly, and ideally we would have loved to have seen it a lot faster in our hands, to experience, to test, and help them refine. But the fact that we're finally seeing this technology being fleshed out, that they took the time to make sure that it works as intended, and not only works as intended, that it will scale. And that is the key issue that they have been having to meet. This was the issue that they had with iCache and Pcache. This was the issue that they've had with a lot of the back-end networking tech that they've developed, is the scalability that will allow them to reach their goal of tens of thousands of entity players inside of a single verse, traveling across a multitude of different solar systems within the verse. Is absolutely fascinating to see. And the fact that we're finally getting to a point that hopefully, development always is a hassle. There's always going to be roadblocks that come in that can cause setbacks and just delays in general. It is awesome to see that they're finally, now with PES finally behind us, that it's working as intended, that it's up on their cloud base, that it's scalable to the needs that they need it to be, that we can finally see them working on the static version of server meshing. And I'm excited to see where the rest of this meshing together inside Star Citizen series is going to take us. Very exciting stuff. Let's continue on.
The design that we're putting in now, we've had for a couple of years, and we've been refining it over that time. In the time we're building persistent entity streaming, have been bits and pieces of server meshing on there that we needed to get done. But we're now in a position now to really, now we've got persistent entity streaming down there as a kind of foundational piece. That then opens up the opportunity to really kind of get this design that we've had, that we've honed, to really knuckle down and actually get it dashed out and get the first version out. Static server meshing, that is. This is a piece of work that's going to last for quite a long time. It'll be ongoing stuff for quite a while.
Absolutely.
Moving to the goal, even 5-6 years ago when we started with object container streaming, where we started to split up the game into smaller chunks, and then moving from there, having stuff only partially loaded on the clients, having stuff partially loaded on the server, and then decoupling the persistent state. And now the next steps are to decouple it more into more logical units to execute the code, which actually server meshing is
everything just to make it simpler for the servers as well as
over time,
for what is
the more you understand the
absolutely
problem,
needed.
the more you know what you need to do. So yeah, that's why every year kind of, most likely we have a summit once per year on this topic for the last N years to refine what we do and what exactly we need to do after we got the step near.
that's the critical path to the first step. But after that is how we get to the actual end game, which is the dynamic mesh.
Yep.
So we all have our views on this, but now it's really, we're getting out into the gravy. Like, how is this gonna work? Here's cases we have to deal with. Like, what if a player dies into a jump tunnel, right? What happens to the missions, right? What happens to the persistent state of these tunnels? Do they exist? Do they not exist? Do they respawn? So we talk about not necessarily the gameplay aspect of it, like I'm giving you guys an example now, but really the technology aspect of it. So do these zones keep existing?
The
How do
behind
we
the
reuse
scenes.
them? Do we want to reuse them? What's the effect on PES, right, for these zone transition subsystems? So that's been the highlight of it has been really about identifying that and then how we make it dynamic.
The best thing which came out of today is basically the same which comes again out of summits. It's to get alignment, that everyone gets the same idea into their mind in a detail.
Is that a whole sea that they showed in the previous
that's
image or two?
After day 2, I think the biggest question is still how we're gonna operationalize the dynamic mesh. And so, we still have these big statements like, oh, we're gonna request additional DGSs and then assign them. Now we're gonna have to flesh out, how do we request them? How do we know they're ready? How do we assign them? How does that actually work? Is gonna be the key to the next steps.
That will then be built over the coming months. And of course, it's not just us as well as the strike team. We have, 50 or so game teams that are also going to have to take this code and then have to adapt all their functionality that they have across Star Citizen to use all this cool technology. So yeah, this is the start
and learn how to efficiently use it.
In our case, it's cramming a lot of developers into a room, closing the doors, getting them to drink coffee and talking a lot. It's very much a list of stuff that we've got to determine. We basically have a list of stuff that we need to nail down. Open questions, miscommunications between teams. We need to get these 3 key teams all aligned, all pointing in the same direction, so they all fully understand what it is they're building. We resolve the technical niggles that we have between these teams, so they really understand what it is they're making. We correct problems before they happen, so there's misunderstandings between the interfaces between the teams that can be quite expensive to fix. Having a summit like this allows us to fix these problems in advance and fix them much more cheaply. So yeah, we need to just, this is what gives us the solid plan that we're going to be working to for the next year. So touch wood, we're in a position now to finally push on and get the very first version, which is static server meshing, in place. We're bound to find other problems on this journey, but we can invent our way. We know we can invent our way around these problems. So yeah, we may occasionally get slowed down, but we don't get, we're still determined to deliver this.
Awesome to hear.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that PES is not just the technical harbinger we all knew it would be, it was also the critical experience necessary to review, amend, and evolve existing plans for server meshing with the lessons learned along the way. That it is a variety of technologies, including the long-awaited jump points that will enable the addition of Pyro in Star Systems Beyond.
Guys, I love his Jared's
people,
Whataburger
really,
hoodie.
boy, do they really love to just sit down for an interview just 5 minutes after sitting in intense all-day meetings. Whew. And let me tell you, I owe some people some dinners. Now, we'll be back with more traditional ISC features and return visits to the Meshing Strike Team Summit in the coming weeks. And don't forget to keep your eyes on the robertsspaceindustries.com website and socials for information on the pending release of Alpha 318. It's got salvage, cargo, persistence, and more. And it seems there's a new Scorpius. The things you'll learn on Twitter.
Seriously.
For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee, and we'll see you all here next week.
All right. No bloopers there. Well, gotta say, some very exciting stuff. I mean, overall, I kind of have to agree with what my org members were saying. I didn't mention at the beginning of the video of what they said. The video definitely focused that, hey, we're getting a bunch of our teams together to focus on what the future of server meshing is. And that's definitely the overall message of today's video, and I agree. But overall, I'm very excited to see that. As I had mentioned earlier on the progress tracker, there's currently only 2 teams working on the main server meshing task. There's a lot of subtasks that I'm sure other teams are working on, but from what I recently reviewed and recalled, there was the 2 teams working on it. With this being said, and after this video, it's seeming like more teams after the summit are looking to expand the work needed and the overall goals and ideas of especially the jump gates, of what they will entail, what happens, the edge cases within what happens as you travel between systems, which is very important for players and CIG as a whole to consider while we're playing for them. If you die in a jump gate, what happens? Are you sent back to the hospital in the previous system that you were? Or are you sent back to your overall spawn location? Do you just respawn in the ship if you happen to have a tier 1 or tier 2 bed? That will eventually change with time and as the medical gameplay career improves. But very important questions to be asking at this time as they develop it, so they don't have to go back and make those changes again later. So awesome to hear. Very exciting stuff. Let me know what you guys think about it. What were your overall impressions of today's Inside Star Citizen? Are you excited to see static server meshing coming and being actively worked on and thought about and considered? And if all things go well, hopefully in our hands by the end of the year. I mean, realistically, knowing how CIG works, we're probably not going to get it until early next year, but fingers crossed, we'll get it here at the end of the year, at least in a PTU sense, just like we did this last year with 3.18 into this year. It's we've had it for a number of months now. It's amazing. We want it to be out as early as possible, but they need to make sure it works right before it gets to the live servers. And as long as CIG follows that philosophy, I don't care personally. I do not care how long it takes. So long as it works the way they intend and they can build upon it properly to guarantee that the product they are promising us gets to the state that it is intended to, that is all that I ask for. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you agree, disagree, please tell me. I'd love to have that discussion with you. With that being said, this is going to be our video for now. We're going to try to get some more out later today. If not, we'll definitely have some more videos out here soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel like we've earned it, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. It really helps the YouTube algorithm spread our channel around, lets people know we're out here generating Star Citizen news and content. And on top of it, please consider subscribing to us. We're a small channel. We're currently at 46 subscribers, looking to grow to 100 by the end of the year. And also, as I've mentioned in previous videos, when we hit 50 subscribers, we have a giveaway contest that will be announced with a Star Citizenship package. So please consider subscribing to us, and we'll have more information on that once we hit 50 subscribers. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. This was a fascinating episode today. Very fun to watch, and we'll definitely have some more content out very soon. I hope you guys enjoyed. With that being said, we're going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. Peace.